Hey everyone, welcome to Baddie with Cancer. This is a podcast about a young adult who went through cancer and about my cancer journey and my personal experiences from it. This is episode 1, Who Even Am I? Anyways, yo guys, my name is Ishtar Smano and I am 22 years old. I'm from Canada, and at the age of 21, I was diagnosed with stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma. When I got diagnosed, I tried to look online for resources, or I tried to look at TikToks of other people who went through it, and I could never really find someone or anyone who really resonated with me. So since then, it's been my mission to try to make some sort of content about it for other people. And just like a week ago, I thought, you know what? Might as well make a podcast. Might as well make this actually something. And so that's what I'm doing here. On my podcast, I'll also bring guests, such as my immediate family or my extended family. That's why I have another seat there. But unfortunately, today we don't have a guest. It's just me introducing myself and getting into the diagnosis. Okay, so more about me. I have 2 older siblings. Their names are Peter and Sarah, and I'll bring them on whatever episode they feel like coming on. I have 2 parents, a mom and a dad, which I also plan on bringing them in the episodes as well. I have 2 cats, 2 tabbies. One of them is named Audrey, and the other's name is Stripey. And Audrey is actually Stripey's mother. So it's really cool. They have like some biology. They share each other's genes. But anyways, let's talk about why you're here. The story about the cancer. So, in today's episode, I'm going to get into before the diagnosis and how I felt and how I knew that something was off. So, it all started in March of 2025. I can't believe we're in 2026 right now. Hold on, that's crazy how we're actually closer to 2030 than we are to 2020. And 2020 to me, bro, I literally remember everything from 2020. I feel like we're still living in 2020. It's crazy how the whole world basically shifted. Everyone had to do stuff online, and the whole vibe of the world changed. But anyways, enough of that. So in March of 2025, I was actually a health science student in college, and I didn't necessarily love the program, but I was doing pretty well, to be honest. Pretty good. Academically, I was doing pretty well. And everything was going well for me. I was actually surprised because usually science and math doesn't really add up to me. Let me know if you are the same. But I was getting everything, I was doing everything pretty well, and I was honestly shocked at how I was doing. But then in March, it's hard to explain exactly what happened, but I just felt like school became harder for me. It was harder to grasp the things that the teacher was lecturing about. It was harder to take notes. I didn't really know exactly what to take notes on, even though I knew before. And I had a lot of concentration problems. I found that it was really hard for me to just stay still, stay focused in class. If it was more than 5 minutes, I could not keep focused. And so my grades kind of started going downhill from there. And genuinely, I was genuinely actually confused because I was like, you know what? Like, I did so well all this time. Like, why am I now doing bad? And, as humans, as a normal human would, you're not going to suspect, oh, you know what? It's a health issue. No, you're going to blame it on yourself. And so that's what I did. Essentially, I blamed it on myself. I said, you know what? Like, I'm not studying enough. I'm playing video games too much. I'm getting distracted when I try to study. I'm not putting enough time into this. And so I just withdrew from the program because I didn't want my GPA to go down. I didn't want to struggle. So I just withdrew. And then in May of 2025, I went back to college for a new program. And this program was also kind of science based, but it wasn't as heavy as the health sciences that I was in. It was called General Arts and Science. And honestly, in May to June, I was doing so good. Like, I was actually doing really well. And I think a lot of it is because of how I basically was just in a program before this that was science based, and I'm in a science based program pretty much. So everything to me I got it really fast. So I was doing that. But then I would say in mid May, I was getting back aches like crazy. And this back pain, it was horrendous. I've experienced back pain before. I have scoliosis, but this back pain was never, ever something that I ever experienced before. Even to breathe, it was hard for me to breathe because, getting the air in, I guess it puts pressure on the back muscles, something. And that hurt so bad. That sensation hurt really, really bad. But I was like, you know what? Maybe I'm sitting down too much. I'm playing video games too much. Let me stop doing that or let me take breaks. So then I started taking breaks and I started trying to do these stretches. I would literally look on TikTok, look on YouTube. I was stretches, stretches for scoliosis, back pain, back pain stretches. I was trying to get something. And I would do that, but still, it wouldn't go away. And at first, I thought it was because I was sleeping wrong. But I never had problems sleeping before. So I was like, this is so odd. So I tried to change my positioning, how I was sleeping. I tried to use more pillows or less pillows, or putting a pillow by my back. Something to try to relieve the pain, but it never really went away. But at this point, it was just happening once or twice a week. I wasn't really thinking much of it. And then I took a shower. And while I was taking that shower, I saw I had something swollen in my groin area. And I was like, what the heck is this? Genuinely, I was confused. I wasn't thinking the worst, but I was like, what is this? Because I never seen something like that. And then I also started getting chills as well. I always felt chilly. I don't know if I had a fever because I wasn't taking my temperature, but definitely I felt chilly. That was the main thing. Anyway, so as a normal human being would do, we always put our health to the side. We always think of our priorities first. I was not thinking about it at first. It was very mild, and I wasn't in a lot of discomfort. I was in discomfort, but it didn't get to a point where I was like, this has to be checked out right away. I was kind of just experiencing these mild symptoms from time to time, and I was like, what the heck is this? But it wasn't so bad that I was concerned in any way. And then, in like towards the end of May to the beginning of June, the back pain started happening very, very consistently. And it was to a point where it was waking me up at night. I couldn't even go to bed, to be honest. I could only sleep like 2 hours because it always woke me up. And it was excruciating, to be honest. Never have I ever felt a pain like that in my life. And never would I ever wish this pain on anybody or want to experience that again. No, this pain was horrid. It was horrid. And like I said, like at the start, I was just trying to do, like naturopathic things. Like, I didn't even really take Tylenol. I didn't think to take Tylenol. Just doing stretches, changing the way I was sleeping, trying to take Epsom salt baths, go on walks, but nothing, nothing helped. So in early June, I saw my family doctor, and I told my family doctor, like, yo, I have really bad back pain and I have this thing in my groin. Can you check it out? So that doctor looked at whatever that was in my groin, and he told me, yeah, this is a lymph node. And I was like genuinely confused because I was not sick or anything. So I was like, why is it there? Can you like tell me why it's there? And he was like, it's probably some traumatic thing. You probably hit your foot, something like that. And I was like, okay. To some degree, I was relieved, but to some degree, I was not really buying what he was saying. You're okay. Don't worry. That's not what I was buying, because this pain was telling me else. Something else. So anyways, he gave me a prescription of Tylenol, and keep in mind, at this time, I didn't even take pills, so I was scared of them because I almost choked on one in 2022, and that's forever traumatized me. But anyway, so he prescribed me these children's Tylenol chews, and I finished that bottle in like 2 days, and it did nothing. Absolutely nothing. So a week goes by, and during that week, it was a horrible week for me. I was getting up pretty much every night. I was getting up. I was exhausted. I was tired. Like, when I tell you, I never felt that type of exhaustion because, I wanted to sleep, but my body physically was not allowing me to sleep. It's a weird it's a weird thing if you've never really experienced it. It's kind of like imagine going on a flight at 5 a.m. but every day. That's basically how I can put it. You're tired, but you can't sleep. And I've had sleeping problems, but this was nothing like that. Nothing like that. So I went to the hospital, and after like a week later, and I sat there and I just thought about life, and I was like, what the heck is going on? There's definitely something going on right now. And I was not thinking like bad, but I was thinking there's something going on. Something is not right. Maybe like, I don't know, like my nerves are going out of place or something. I don't know. Like, I'm not a spinal surgeon to tell you, but I was not thinking it's something that major. So at the hospital, after I waited in the waiting room for like an hour, 2 hours, they finally called me in. And I saw the doctor and I explained to him, like, yo, like, I've been having this back pain and something swollen in my groin. And of course, the question that all of us women get, are you pregnant? No, doctor, I'm not pregnant. Anyways, so when he confirmed that I was not pregnant, he just let me, like, so how the room was, it was like 3 chairs on one wall and then 3 chairs on the other wall. And these were like chairs where you would, like, when you donate blood, like those type of looking chairs. And then there were like 2 beds on one wall and then 2 beds on the other wall, and that's like where you see the doctor. And then around those beds there were like the curtains, the hospital curtains. So you only go in those beds to see the doctor. So then I went back to my chair. And also, fun fact, when the nurse came to put me in my chair, did I say there were 2 chairs? There were 4 chairs. Sorry, 4 chairs on one wall and then 4 on the other. And then there are 2 chairs like beside each other, and then there's a curtain, and then 2 chairs beside each other, and then yeah. So you don't see you only see the person next to you, not the person, like, you only see one person because there's a curtain. I hope I'm explaining that good. So I get to the chair that she wants me to sit in, but because there's 2 beside each other, there was this guy who was sitting in my chair and he was sleeping. So the nurse was like, sir, excuse me, sir, this is not your chair. And she was like, you know what, just sit there. So I just sat there at the chair that was next to him, but technically the chair I was not supposed to be in, but I don't know, the whole thing was messed up. So yeah. So after I saw the doctor, I went to go sit down, and they did an x-ray first, and I mean, everything pretty much, from what I believe, it all came back normal. And when I was walking in the x-ray room, like, my breathing at that point, because I guess my back was so compressed, something was compressed. Like, the way I was breathing, it was like, like, I was like breathing heavy. And they were like, are you okay? Like, did you fall on your back or something? I was like, no, I'm just having this really bad back pain. Like, even they thought I literally fell and did something to my back. So anyways, once the x-ray was done, I went back to go sit in my chair, and I was just waiting. You know how it is in the emergency room if you haven't been there? You kind of just, it's like a waiting game. You don't really know what's coming. So you're just kind of sitting there until they tell you, like, okay, we want to go do this or this. So I didn't really know what was going on. And at this point, it was like 5 p.m.-ish, I would say. I got there at 1 p.m. And mind you, I didn't eat all day. I was starving. So I asked the nurse for some food, and she gave me a turkey. She was like, okay, we have turkey sandwich, tuna sandwich, stuff like that. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'll get a turkey sandwich. Hook me up. Bro, she brings a turkey sandwich, and it's not what I think or what I thought I was gonna be eating. It was literally 2 pieces of bread, like toast, soggy bread. In between, there's this piece of turkey. Soggy, cold turkey. Like, no veggies, no condiments, no nothing. It was not the most disgustingest thing in the world, but it was probably like medium, if there was a scale. They gave me like this thing of mayo that I could put, but it didn't even help. It was really bad. It was really bad. And then they gave me some like juice. So that was basically my dinner, my breakfast, lunch, and dinner, all combined into one, because that was literally the only thing that I ate during that day. um, and then, around like 8 p.m., I was really thirsty. So I went to go ask for water. And do you know what the nurse tells me? Oh, you're NPO. You can't drink water right now. NPO means nothing by mouth. And I was like, wait, what? I can't drink water? Why? She was like, because you have a CT scan. I was like, what? I have a CT scan? Nobody told me I have a CT scan. So I was confused, and she was like, oh, nobody told you? I was like, no. And then she was just like, oh, well, you have a CT scan and you can't drink. I was like, a CT scan for what? And she said for the lungs. Unless I misheard her. She said something lungs. So I was like, okay. At this point, I was so exhausted. I was tired. I just wanted to go home and eat some food. Anything would do. But now I couldn't even drink water. Like, that's the one thing that I wanted. And then my mom was texting me and she was like, how are you doing? What's happening? And I was like, I'm so tired. Like, I didn't even reply to her, to be honest. I don't think I replied to her. Because I was so tired. I was so drained mentally from this day. And then she texts me. She's like, do you want your sister to come drop you off something to drink? I'm sorry, Mom, I love you, but that was my last and final straw. I was like, no, I cannot drink anything. I'm so thirsty, but I cannot drink anything. Just leave me alone or something. Like, I was just pissed. I was pissed, to be honest. So that was a long wait for the CT scan. Because I didn't have the CT scan until 12 a.m. So I went how many hours without drinking water? I don't even know. She was like, I can give you ice. But I declined ice. What's the point of ice? So then I did my CT scan and I waited. This was at like 1 a.m. And when I did my CT scan, the doctor came like 30 minutes later after I did it. And she was like, you have a lot of lymph nodes around your body, but we'll send you to emergency medicine for this. And I was like, what? Like, I was confused. It was 12 hours. I was here for 12 hours. I was confused. I was like, what do you mean? Like, in my head, this is what I'm thinking. Like, what do you mean? I have a lot of lymph nodes. I didn't even fully understand what she was telling me at first. I was like, okay. And then I went home and then I started to think about it more and I was like, is this normal? Like, am I supposed to have a lot of lymph nodes everywhere? Like, or not? And honestly, I did a lot of overthinking during this time. This time was one of the hardest times. Going through this whole journey, this was probably one of the hardest times that I had to go through. Was the waiting to know what was wrong with you. I mean, it's really hard, you know? But yeah, anyways, in next week's episode 2, we'll talk about my appointment with emergency medicine, my appointment with my hematologist, and how we went to my official diagnosis. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode, and I hope you guys come back for next week's episode. It was so nice to meet you. This is Baddie with Cancer. I'm your host, Ishar Samano, and I am out.